afternoon all, and thanks for joining me today for our session in capturing license and tickets for your workforce and managing that compliance within WorkPro. Today, I'm going to actually include in the session you to send out a request to upload to a candidate any particular industry ticket and licenses or any documents that you require a candidate to upload as part of their compliance or your compliance within your organisation. We're going to actually then look at the viewing rights, and that's within the document management, and also most importantly, the key part of the ticket and license management system within WorkPro is for you as an employer to monitor those key ticket and license that you require and managing those expiry dates. So just to start within the platform itself, to actually send out a request to a candidate. Now, just before I show you that, we do work with actual industry experts to look at those key ticket and licenses that are required by an employee to validate or present to an employer so they are able to perform their duties or enter into a role with your organisation that they've actually got those key tickets. It will actually then take you through how the candidate will actually upload those, and again, as I mentioned, how they will actually be monitored. So to send a request out to a candidate to ask them to undertake or provide you with those ticket and licenses, simply requesting, you can either send that to an individual candidate or a group of candidates. So if you've actually got especially in that labour hire space where you may have one of your clients requesting 20 labourers to turn up to a site and to be able to present to ensure that they've actually got the adequate ticket and licenses to step on site, you can then send that under the bulk request. But to send an individual request out to a candidate, simply come into WorkPro. You will need to complete the candidate's name, a candidate email address. Coming over to the left-hand side here, once you've actually completed that, as you can see, there's an array or an assortment of industry license and tickets that a candidate will require. So these are the key ones. If there is a ticket and license that doesn't appear here, you can add your own ticket and license or information about a particular license. But for you to select that, if I would say, obviously in a labour hire, candidate will require a construction white card. Again, if there is one or multiple tickets that are required, simply choose that particular license. You'll see on the right-hand side there is a menu of what you've actually requested the candidate to provide you. Once you've actually done that, you can simply send a request out of WorkPro. So to monitor that the request has gone out of WorkPro, within here you actually have a track request. Now within this area you can actually see the candidate who you've actually sent it to, the date you've sent a request. Each individual candidate will receive an email. In that email will actually have a URL to actually go into WorkPro. If they have or haven't got their own digital profile, it will actually ask the candidate to actually register or log on or create their digital profile. Once the candidate has done that, it will request or prompt them for the token code, which is located here. Once the candidate has actually completed that, you will actually receive now a date that will be represented here as when they've actually gone in and completed that task. WorkPro will automate reminders out of WorkPro. So if they haven't completed your requirement to fulfill the ticket and licenses after the first request, WorkPro will remind them or send an automated reminder every 3 days. We will only send 4 requests out to the candidate. It will then be up to you as an employee to then monitor why the candidate has not provided that information to you. Once they have provided it to you, you can see within your home or your key dashboard that a candidate's name will be represented as such, and I'll just go down to myself, my own profile here. The candidate's name will appear. Under the ticket and licenses, it will appear their particular ticket or license that you've requested. If you actually go into the candidate profile, under the ticket and licenses, you'll see here the candidate's information. Now, if I actually then open that particular ticket and license, what the candidate will actually complete is the information about the ticket or license you've requested. They will need to complete here, and it is transformed into your dashboard, the ticket or license number, if applicable, a state that's issued, and of course the candidate has the capability of uploading also a copy of that license. A candidate can complete this request for you on any handheld device. So if they are actually on their mobile phone, to select or provide you with a copy of that, they can actually take a photo of that on their phone. It will shoot them through to their library. They will capture and connect that particular photo into that. And of course, there will be a file then where you can actually open that up and you can actually see then a copy of that particular ticket and license. There is a front and back, so if applicable, if there is actually a back image, it will appear here. And as I said, this is the area here where you can then view and monitor that. If a candidate hasn't got the capability to actually upload those, or if you've actually got those in your own, either as provided as a manual or they've provided it to you in an email, depending on the steps that you go with your onboarding, you can come into WorkPro and actually manually yourself record a specific ticket or license against the candidate's profile. So to simply do that, you just hit this plus request. You then type in the particular license or ticket that they've provided you. So in this case, it's a blue card. You represent the information as a requirement of that particular ticket and license, monitoring the actual expiry date. Selecting a copy of those, of course, copy that into your particular documents or file area, select a copy of that, and you can simply just save that against the candidate's profile. It will be represented in their profile exactly as shown. And to monitor, which is the key part of WorkPro, and the advantage to you as an employer is to ensure that, one, the alert system within WorkPro. So when a candidate does have an expired license, you will start to receive alerts. It will kick off, first of all, at a 90-day process at expiry time. If the candidate hasn't gone into their digital profile and replaced or uploaded or refreshed the new ticket or license that's been issued, you will get another alert at 60 days. And again, if that no longer has been updated, you can then get that alert at 30 days. Both you and the employee will receive that alert. So again, not only will it be advantageous for you as an employee to actually manage and receive those alerts, but the candidate will also provide that, will receive that email alert as well. Within WorkPro, we've got a filtering functionality here. So if you at any time wish to run a report on and show through a CSV format all of your employees that actually have a license that's either expired or coming up to expiry, you'll find this within the filtering section within WorkPro. And again, if I was to say going across my workforce, show me all of my people that have actually got an expired license, you can come in here, apply that across the group, and it will then show you anything in red is represented as an expired license. Anything in green means they still have a valid ticket or license. We do have a format here to export that into a CSV file, and then of course monitor those particular expiry dates as well. Document management within WorkPro. So if I can just differentiate the two and what they actually mean to you. So there is a ticket and license. Obviously, there's these key industry or ticket and licenses that are performed against their duty or roles. The second part of this area is document management. Say, for example, within the labour hire, they may have to provide a certificate for working at heights. You can request, again, out of WorkPro for them to provide that document and proof of evidence that they've actually passed a certain course in high risk or working at heights, beg your pardon. So again, to initially request that, the first thing that you actually need to do within WorkPro is create or manage that document type. So this is actually creating the template on what you need the candidate to provide you as information within that document. So if I was to create, say, an example for working at heights, I create the document itself. It then comes down here and says, well, what do you actually want the candidate to provide as minimum requirements? If there is an applicable issue date, so in this case, out of working at heights, an applicable date would be when they've actually undertaken that training. So you would say, yes, I need to require that as a mandatory date that the candidate will need to provide you. Expiry date, so if applicable, does that actual document itself have an expiry date? If it is actually issued by a particular company that might do that assessment, what we recommend to do is create what that looks like, those additional fields. So in this case, it would be a, say, an assessment provider. So you want that to be provided, who they actually went to complete that course. It is then obviously a text field. They will need to put that name in here, and of course, whether you require that as a mandatory requirement or provide that information. There is actually other fields that are applicable for you to add in. Some additional examples of some other documents that you might want to gather. You might have certain contractors that need to provide you with other particular key documents, which is public liability, public or personal indemnity insurance. So in that particular case, there's some other examples of some documents that you will require. Again, the same features as the ticket and license management, and the same request feature, send a request at a WorkPro as I've requested or shown you with the ticket and license. So just to sort of summarise the end of the presentation, I'll show you again just a request out of WorkPro. If you were to send a request for ticket and license and document management, again, a request out of WorkPro, you're sending that to a new candidate. Simply put the candidate's name and email address, jump down to ticket and licenses, again, construction white card, and again, where you've created that document, it will appear in a check box. And if we go to that working at heights competency assessment, you will then say, I need you to provide us also with this document. Once you've actually got the menu or the task at hand to the right, you will again simply send a request. What I'd just like to show you, if you did have, again, if the candidate, just with that document management area, it's really important to note that if a candidate has actually requested, or you've requested a particular document, the candidate will need to provide you with access to see that particular document. And the reason why we ask the candidate to share them with you is that they may then go on to another employer, that if they move their digital profile into an additional employer that uses WorkPro, they may not want them to see those particular sensitive documents. So the candidate has actually the viewing rights that they share with you as an employer for that information or proof of evidence of that information about that document for you to view that. If you to go into documents, you will then see the information that the candidate has provided to you as a document. Again, very similar to the ticket and license area within WorkPro. To view that, again, very much the same as the ticket and license within WorkPro. They will provide you with information about that particular document. You'll see here the feature for them to actually upload and share that document with you. And again, you can view and validate that is actually part of the compliance process. It does sit in your dashboard. And again, similar to the license and tickets, you will still be able to monitor those expiry dates. One thing I just wanted to point out here, you'll see that there is actually a locked area here. So if you've gone in yourself and actually added a new document, it will appear as shown within the platform. And if you if you actually looked at that little lock, if you were the one that's actually created that document on behalf of that candidate to store in their file, you can have the flexibility to also transfer the rights to the candidate. What this will mean for you is that if the candidate then logs into their digital profile, they will then see the document that you've actually uploaded against their profile. So just be why it is an additional feature within WorkPro. Some companies may use this for just if they've done a performance review with a particular candidate and they want to put that against a profile and set and monitor an expiry date for them to go back in 6 months' time, or whatever your business generates with that candidate. You can put things like performance reviews in there. Again, one of the key things here is lock it. Obviously, that's sensitive to your business. So but again, a couple of additional features. Just a little reminder, again, expiring for any of those document management, similar to ticket and licenses. However, it is stored in the document management area. You can either, a couple of things here. If you've got particular documents that are actually registered against the candidate, you can, again, across your portfolio of candidates, show anyone with an insurance document. You can come in and say, show me all those documents again that are expiring within a particular period of time. And again, filter and save that and bring that out to a CSV file. One final thing is most of our clients, obviously within that labour hire space, do have candidates that may only work for them from a short period of time. Ideally, what you'd like to see in your home platform is really any current candidates. So if a candidate has actually left your organisation and gone to work doing, for example, some labouring work with another hiring company, to ensure that, again, compliance is still here, it doesn't move off the particular platform itself, but what you can do is archive that client or that candidate. So all you will need to do is find the candidate. Now you can either filter that under basic options, find the candidate and apply, or simply if once you find the candidate against the profile, simply drop the little drop down box here. You'll see a request here where you can archive that candidate, which I'm going to do. Okay, so they no longer appear in your current client base. They haven't gone anywhere. Compliance is key, so it is always housed within WorkPro. If that person has come back to you, say in a few months' time, and again works within your agency or business, and all their compliance is up to date, you can come into the candidate archive area. You simply move your home screen into that archive section, and here's Hayley, which I archived before, and you can simply restore them back into the home screen. So to see them anymore, I simply go into the platform, view them, and all their compliance is up to date. If you've had a candidate that has worked with another organisation and in the same sector or field of work, it's likely that they've provided this information already to another agency or employer that uses WorkPro. In the event that they have done that, the key part of using WorkPro is ensuring that the digital profile that candidate has moves from employer to employer without the need to continually duplicating all of these compliance tasks of their employers. All you'll need to do to obtain information about a current WorkPro candidate is obtain their SID number. Now, a SID number stands for a candidate identification number. Once you've obtained that candidate identification number, you simply type in the candidate identification number. You can see here it's represented in your current dashboard. Place a surname and search for them. Let's just say as an example, it is Hayley that's then come and populated in your dashboard. You can see here that Hayley hasn't got under their profile any license or document management. So in that case, you can send from Hayley's profile a request out of WorkPro to ask them to provide particular ticket and licenses. You see in the top right-hand corner, there is a new request. Simply click on that particular task. You then back into the requesting of what would you like to send this particular candidate. In this case, for today's purpose and demonstration, it is ticket and licenses and or document management. Simply go into WorkPro, select the particular ticket or license that you require Hayley to provide, and you can simply send a request out of WorkPro. Hayley will receive an email. The email that Hayley receives is the company that's actually requested her to provide the particular construction and white card. It will still provide her a URL link into WorkPro. It will provide her instructions how she actually logs into her profile. And again, she is provided then with a particular token code that when prompted and used, will provide her with a particular instruction or compliance task, in this case, a construction white card. And again, same sequence of order. Once Hayley has provided that to you, it will sit within your dashboard to then view and monitor. So that concludes today's webinar. I hope that it's been beneficial for you. If you do have any questions, please call WorkPro on 1300 975 776. But a video of this presentation will be available to you. Thanks everyone, happy Friday and have a great weekend.